former Cleveland mayor and former Democratic congressman from Ohio and presidential candidate in both 2004 and 2008, and current candidate for Congress, running as an independent. Dennis Kucinich joins me. Good evening, sir. And you and I have talked for years about things like this. I think you would agree with me that LBJ, President Johnson's War on Poverty in 1964, with all great hope, is an abject failure, because when you look at those numbers, you have to get that. In light of these numbers, isn't it fair to say, it's not in a slight on the people, but that Milwaukee is horrible, and a lot of these cities are horrible?
Greta, first of all, I'm sure that by the time President Trump leaves Milwaukee after the convention, he'll like Milwaukee. However, the comments open up that large discussion you just referred to about crime in America, about what's causing the crime. I'm in Cleveland. There's a lot of crime here. The first thing I say is support the police. We've had this kind of thinking that says, well, we can't really enforce this and that. No, you have to start having police supported so that they can do their jobs. But then let's go into some of the problems with the American economy. The middle class is having a hell of a time right now with high prices, high mortgage rates, high credit card expenses. And what's being done about that? The overall economy is in trouble. And as you go lower on the economic totem pole, people who are living in poverty, they're hurting.
You're talking about sort of like a time period of now and the last few years, but when you look back to 1965, there is something really wrong with the fact that the programs that were developed in 1965 to meet the challenge of beating poverty is that they just have failed, and yet we keep doing the same thing over and over. That we need some structural changes, that we need to have some new solutions, because they're just not working. I could read you other numbers. Philadelphia, 22.8% live in poverty. Houston, 19.4%. El Paso, 19.1%. These are all these cities are failing. I think it's fair to say that it's horrible for these people. Take the train through Baltimore to New York. It's terrible.
You make a good point, Greta, that the poverty programs have not been successful. I mean, I know from my own experience in Cleveland, we had something that was called the Comprehensive Employment and Training Act, training people for jobs that didn't exist. And it was riddled with corruption. We had a program called Model Cities, which was infiltrated by elements of organized crime. There's so many federal programs that can go south if you don't have accountability, fiscal accountability. That's true of the Pentagon too, by the way. But the larger question here is, how do we stop more people from sliding into poverty, and how do we help lift up people? One thing's obvious is education.
Is it fair to, and look, all those cities I just named, and a lot of these big cities are run by Democratic mayors. Is that a fair indictment of the Democratic Party in terms of of the leadership in these cities? Because they are in I'll use the term horrible, and my heart bleeds for the people.
Yeah, well, first of all, I don't see this as a Democrat or Republican issue. We have to start putting America first. We have to put our concerns as a country, take care of things here at home, find a way to teach wealth creation so that people who are coming out of the inner city, and I come from the inner city, by the way. I'm not a missionary to the poor. I come from the inner city, and we have to help people understand how to create wealth, educate people to create wealth. There's an unlimited amount of wealth that can be created, but we're not really helping people learn that. So we need a transformation of our economy, Greta.
I remember even Barbara Bush running all those literacy programs. She said that down in Texas there are people who couldn't read or write to fill out an application for a job. But that's, there's so many different things that we're just doing wrong.
Still a problem.
Still a problem. Congressman Dennis Kucinich, come back, talk poverty with me more, because we know this is just, whatever we're doing is just not working. Thanks, sir.
You're 100% right. Thanks, Greta.